You know that feeling? It's the middle of the night, you're all warm and comfortable in bed, deep asleep. I mean, what could possibly be worth leaving that for? Well, today, we're going to explore an act of worship that's been described as a worldly paradise, a private conversation you can have in the absolute stillness of the night.
And you know, the Quran itself really sets the stage for this. This verse here, it paints such a powerful picture. It's not describing some heavy obligation, but a defining characteristic of people who are truly devoted. It frames the night as more than just a time for sleep. It's the special, sacred time for a divine connection. So, what is this practice called? It's known as Tahajjud, or Qiyam el-Layl. And here's the key thing. It isn't a mandatory prayer. It's completely voluntary. And honestly, that's what makes it so incredibly special. It's a choice you make, a step you take beyond what's required, and that's why it's considered one of the most beloved things you can do.
Okay, so what exactly is this night prayer when you get right down to it? Let's dig into it, not just as a set of rituals, but as a real path to a much deeper connection, a practice that the most devout people have been doing throughout history. This really breaks down the benefits, and they're kind of holistic. First off, it's described as the habit of the righteous, this timeless tradition. But look at the effects. It goes way beyond just feeling spiritually closer. The tradition says it actively helps wipe away past sins, but also prevents you from future ones. And then there's this. It even repels sickness from the body, a physical benefit.
At its core, there's this beautiful exchange happening. In the quiet of the night when no one's watching, a person stands in just pure humility. And the idea is that in return for this private act of devotion, God elevates and honors that person, giving them this incredibly lofty status.
And that leads to the big question, right? Why is this act so profound? I mean, what are the rewards that make leaving a warm bed in the dead of night totally worth it?
This is just fascinating. Part of what makes Tahajjud so valuable is that its ultimate reward is a secret. Think about that. It's like this hidden treasure, something concealed by God as a special surprise, just for those who privately gave up their sleep to turn to Him.
And this verse from the Quran confirms it directly. The reward is a blissful delight that not a single soul is aware of. It's something completely beyond our worldly imagination, and it's reserved specifically for this hidden act of worship. Just incredible.
Now, while that ultimate reward is a secret, some of the benefits in the hereafter are known, and they are massive. Your night prayer literally becomes your companion. It advocates for you on the day of judgment. It provides light and comfort in the grave. It makes that long, difficult standing on that final day easy. And it even leads to these amazing transparent rooms in paradise.
But you know, the rewards aren't just for the next life. This is a really key theme in the source material, the immediate, worldly experience of Tahajjud. It's described as a source of this incredible sweetness, a joy that's pretty much impossible to find anywhere else. I mean, just listen to this quote from the early scholar Abu Sulayman al-Dirani. He swears an oath. He says that the people who pray at night find a delight that is greater than any delight people find in worldly entertainment. That is a profound statement about the unique joy found in this practice. This brings us to another really core concept. Why the night? Well, because the night is like a school of sincerity. Think about it. When you're all alone, in the dark, and there's nobody around to impress, your worship becomes purely and 100% for God. It's the ultimate training ground for purifying your intentions.
This story is so telling. So the Prophet's companion, Tamim al-Dari, was asked about his night prayer, and he actually got angry. Why? Because he felt like the question itself was a threat to the secrecy of his worship. He said, "I swear one single unit of prayer that I do in secret, in the middle of the night, is more beloved to me than praying all night long and then telling everyone about it." That's how vital sincerity is.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. Now, let's get practical. How does a person actually do the Tahajjud prayer? Well, the sources lay out a really clear path for us.
All right, here are the core components. It starts with this beautiful sense of community, gently waking your family to join you. The prayer itself is a balance between fear of God's majesty and hope in His infinite mercy. The recitation shouldn't be rushed. It should be slow, reflective, letting the words really sink in. This is prime time for deep, heartfelt supplication, dua, and for seeking forgiveness as dawn gets closer, before you finally conclude with the witr prayer.
Now, while you can pray Tahajjud any time after the evening prayer, there is a prime time. The last third of the night is considered the most virtuous. Why? Because the tradition teaches that this is the time when God descends to the lowest heaven, asking who is calling on him so that he can answer.
Okay, but let's be real. The biggest challenge is actually waking up. The source gives some fantastic practical tips. It's about having a sincere intention, sleeping early, and not going to bed on a full stomach. But crucially, it acknowledges that inner struggle, that fight with yourself to get up. And it reframes the effort itself as part of the reward. And consistency is key. Even if you miss a day, making it up helps build that habit.
And this brings us to a pretty sobering thought from Al-Fudel bin Ayyad. He suggests that if you find yourself unable to wake up for this prayer, it might actually be a sign that you are, in his words, shackled by your sins. It's a really profound call for some serious self-reflection.
And that leads us to a final and maybe the most crucial point of this entire discussion: humility.
This quote from Ibn al-Qayyim is just stunning. It suggests that the crying of a sinner who feels regret is dearer to God than the worship of someone who's become conceited because of it. I mean, that just reframes everything. An act of worship that makes you proud is like a poison, but a sin that breaks you and brings you back to God in humility can actually be a cure. What matters most, always, is the state of your heart.
So we'll leave you with this question to think about. In our hyper-connected, 24/7 world of constant noise, a world that is always on, what treasures of connection, of sincerity, of self-discovery are just waiting for us in the profound silence and stillness of the night?